Okay, update on the 240Z here. As you can see, we removed the engine and transmission from the vehicle, and if you do plan on doing this on a 240Z, you're much better off just separating everything as one unit, as opposed to separating the transmission from the engine while it's still in the car. Just put everything, leave everything together and pull it out. If you're curious on how to get to this step, we do have a separate video just showing what you have to disconnect and remove to pull the motor. But since this is 40 years old, this car, over 40 years old, pretty simple, pretty straightforward stuff. So what we're doing today is removing the engine from the transmission. We'll place the engine on that engine stand over there and start disassembling it on a separate video. But that being said, real quick, I just want to note something for anyone that plans on doing this at home. One thing that I was concerned about was the ceilings. In other words, these are 8-foot ceilings. They're not very tall. No issues whatsoever. And the car is jacked up a little bit, as you can see. It's sitting on jack stands right now. So I did not strike the ceiling with this boom, so that turned out okay. What I will note, if you do plan on, a lot of guys purchase these these engine cranes from Harbor Freight. This is a 1-ton engine crane, got on sale for $100 because I know I wouldn't be using it a lot, and it did the job perfectly fine. The lifting capacity was excellent. The construction is very solid, easy to put together and assemble. But the one drawback is the boom is extremely short. So in this case, we had to remove the front bumper just so we can get all the right clearances regarding the chains hooked up to the motor. But even at that point, what happened was once I started lifting the motor, the front of the engine was striking the hydraulic boom, and I had to remove the engine pump. What happened was at the rear of the oil pump. At the rear of the transmission over there, right here, that's where the shifter lives inside the vehicle. And what happened was that was striking the firewall and the brake lines, and it was very angled, but I needed that extra angle just to clear everything, and the oil pump was striking the hydraulic boom. So once I removed that, I got the extra clearance, and I was able to remove it. So just take note of that. If you do plan on purchasing one from Harbor Freight, again, this did a terrific job in terms of the lifting capacity, does not feel flimsy whatsoever, but get the 2-ton, because the 2-ton, the boom is much, much longer. You need the longer boom, makes the job so much easier. So, that being said, let's go ahead and remove the transmission from the engine, and yeah, we'll keep on adding to the series here regarding the 240Z. Okay, so looking at the rear of the engine here, as you can see, we have the transmission housing meets the engine right here. So, it looks like we have at least 4 14mm bolts, and as usual, if you're familiar with my videos, everything I do is with hand tools. So I'll show essentially how anyone can pretty much do this at home. Get yourself a hammer, which you'll see in a second. And that being said, before we do this, I have the transmission on a creeper, which is right here. Let me just do this. Okay, here's your creeper, which is on wheels. Again, the engine crane is on wheels too. So as we remove these bolts here, as we remove the bolts, plan is hopefully it comes apart rather easily. I can separate the two since everything's on wheels, makes it easy. Don't have to break my back, nothing like that. So you can do this as a one-man operation for sure. As long as you take the precautions beforehand, you'll be fine. So here we go. So 14mm, and again, because they've been on here for over 40 years, these bolts, so they won't be stubborn. Get yourself a 3-pound hammer. Makes the job very, very easy. If you're not using cordless tools or air tools or anything like that. We'll just loosen them up, and then we'll use the socket and ratchet to remove it. Now sometimes you have to do a little searching. As you can see, there's another bolt right down here. Just really caked on with a lot of grease. Just to give you an idea where we are. There's the rear of the transmission and on the bottom. So this is a 12 mil. Oh, that's a 14. So a 12mm. We'll go ahead and remove this. Probably one, let me see, feel for one here. Yeah, there's one more on the other side. Take off the other two 14mm bolts, and hopefully this comes out pretty easily. So it looks like there's actually a nut on the other end here. So we need to open it and wrench. Let's see if I can angle this so you guys can see it. There we go. Okay. There we go. Whenever you remove stuff, best bet is just put everything back together. Just take note where it was removed from and just place it to the side. Okay. Okay, let's lift up the motor a little bit here. Okay. Okay, here comes the pressure plate assembly. Oh, and there goes the clutch. Okay. Well, as you can see, pretty darn worn down. Of course, we'll be installing a new clutch as well once we rebuild this motor. Okay. There we go. There we go. Okay. So now we're going to remove the flywheel. If you get stuck along the way and trying to get these bolts loose, because it could be pretty hard. If you need a guide, just click on the description box below. I'll have a video showing how you can remove these at home just using basic hand tools. And I'll also include a card as well. But we need to get the flywheel off before we put it on the engine stand. Oh man, that hurt. Don't forget, these are really heavy. Oh. That's it, guys. We're in good shape. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.